And now to this story for you, a nasty war of words over religion between the Reverend Al Sharpton and former Governor Mitt Romney. It started after Sharpton made comments about the only Mormon candidate for president. Listen to this.
As for the one Mormon running for office, those that really believe in God will defeat him anyway, so don't worry about that. That's a temporary situation.
Sharpton made those comments earlier this week, and Romney has fired back every single day this week. Listen to this.
I don't know exactly what his intent was, but his comment was a bigoted comment. It shows that bigotry still exists in some corners, and I thought it was a most unfortunate comment to make.
What's your reaction? What reaction do you get from most constituents about your religion?
Overwhelmingly, the people I talk to believe that we elect a person to lead the nation, not based upon which church they go to, but based upon their values and their vision. And I receive very little comment of the nature that came from Reverend Sharpton.
Al Sharpton helped to get Don Imus fired, so why can't Sharpton get shut down for these comments about Mormonism? That is the question that's raised. Here with The Scoop, Marc Lamont, assistant professor of urban education at Temple University. Marc, always good to see you.
Always good to see you, too.
You know, it is interesting that nobody seems to have jumped all over Al Sharpton for making these comments. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there are a few reasons. First, I've just recently had the opportunity to actually hear Reverend Sharpton's comments, and it seems to me in his post-show comments as well, or post-debate comments as well, he seems to be saying that the Mormons' historic stance against race, against women, et cetera, is something that's counter to the principles of Christianity. And as such, he's saying the real believers, are different than than what Mitt Romney's religion would suggest. And the fact is, Martha, many Americans agree with that. Back in November, there was a poll where 43% of Americans said that they would not vote for a person based on there being a Mormon. 38% said that they likely would not. And there are other people who are undecided, but this suggests that many people agree that Mormonism has some problematic dimensions to it.
But Mark, I think it goes back, and I read sort of how he justified what he said, but when you listen to what he said, he did suggest that Governor Romney doesn't believe in God, which is, anybody who's sat down and spoken with him, as I have recently, knows that is simply not true. So why do you think that, that nobody is sticking up for Governor Romney in this situation?
Well, the first thing is oftentimes the Mormon circles are much more insular. Whereas you have an anti-defamation league for Jewish Americans, you have a host of civil rights organizations for Black Americans. There often aren't the same advocacy groups for Mormon Americans. But also, again, I do think it's important to look at Sharpton's comments in light of the context. The person against whom he was debating said that he was surprised that no one challenges the Mormon Church for its historic racism. And so Sharpton was saying, well, the true believers in God will make sure that he doesn't get elected anyway. I think it's traditional Christian rhetoric to challenge things like racism and sexism by saying that anyone who engages in sexism or racism isn't really a Christian or doesn't really believe in God. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty traditional rhetoric that doesn't necessarily dismiss Romney's faith, but challenges him to acknowledge the role that his religion has historically played against oppressed people.
All right, it's an interesting argument. Thank you very much, Marc Lamont joining us today.